figuring out the tokenomics model and how all that's going to work. So that's how we're involved with that. And as part of that, C4C received a tranche of Gimbal tokens. So this group is formed to figure out how to use those Gimbals in our community and what we want to use them for.
The goal of the Gimbal tokens, from what I understand too, is to incentivize and reward open source development. I think that was the initial reasoning behind doing the token. And why can't we do that with C4C? A lot of us put in our time, our heartbeats into this work, and we don't necessarily see how much it is. And I think what comes in yours is that you have an allocated amount per month. Same number, we all have the same number of heartbeats per month, you know, and we sell those for something, you know, whether we're working or supporting or using something, we give away our heartbeats. And, you know, we talk about, you know, getting paid for our work, but there's also that other side where we're actually giving away our time, pieces of our life for what we're doing. So I don't know how that overlaps, but yeah. So
it's so valid because all of us are losing time every second, right?
mm-hmm. And you said age, you know, like you cut your hair to make yourself look younger, but we all have this to give away. That's where we all become equal. As far as I know, nobody has more time than the other person.
Yeah, we're all just ticking away, right?
Mm-hmm.
Every minute.
Yeah.
And where do we spend it? Here in C4C GTPBL. Yay!
Ooh, wow, the agenda looks pretty packed.
Yeah, let's look at it and thin it down to what we really need to do. Do we have any treasury people showing up today? Do you know?
Nope.
Can we play then instead of working on accounting?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Newman, will you facilitate?
Oh, you'd like for me to facilitate?
Or we just sort of co-facilitate, or we all facilitate, we all jump in. Nori?
I don't have permissions to share screen or anything.
Who's the boss here? Maybe none of us are. Oh, okay, co-host.
Melanie is the boss.
I can share screen.
I'll make everybody co-host. I'll make everybody bosses.
It's easiest just to go security, allow everybody to share screen, and then.
True, way better than what I do. Share screen, perfect, thank you. I wanted to make everybody boss though.
You can do that too.
Oh, I've just been in an epic 3-hour. We'll just sort of check in. We are recording. This is going out to YouTube. Some ground rules. It's a sort of open discussion. I don't think there's anyone new here. There is an agenda document. We'll just sort of look at that agenda document and sort of collect around that. But you can also add, just to let you guys know, as a check-in, I was just in the facilitators workshop, 3-hour sort of an epic thing, and starting early in the morning. So I'm a bit spent. I don't really have the energy. I just reached for it, and I just reached for like my facilitator out of my thing, and it was just like not happy. You know, that's my check-in. We could check in and then start going through that document if you guys are agreeable. And just, there are always good conversation rolls around. So
Nori, do you want to facilitate?
Sure.
Yeah, take a break, Newman. That's what we're about, is this team, you know. And Nori and I just woke up, had this amazing sunrise come up, you guys. The sun, it's hitting the middle of this mountain to the east, and I had little rainbows on either side. In Saskatchewan, where it's really, really cold, if you see little rainbows on either side of the sun, they call them sun dogs. It means it's really, really cold, but not today. These are way far out, and they're little rainbows. So I don't know, maybe it's a special day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for here in Finland, it's just gonna get dark right now.
Starting to get dark.
It's like 6
Yeah.
p.m.
So the sun's come up on the other side of the world just here now.
Mhm.
So pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yorm, how are you doing today?
Midway through your day.
I'm doing excellent. Great to be here. Very productive day. It's already, yeah, for me, it's already after 5 p.m. So towards the end, but doing very well.
Nice. Excellent. Bruno, how are you doing?
Yeah, doing great. Similar to Nori, happy coming to the end of the week. Been busy, so yeah, just grateful to be here. Looking forward to the discussions and looking forward to the weekend as well.
Absolutely. Nice. Hanno, how about you?
Yeah, I'm also doing well. End of the week, I was on leave this week, so I've been tinkering around. Look, I live in South Africa. We have load shedding, which is where the government cuts off the electricity for parts of the day, which is fairly interesting. So I've been building electronic components like this little device over here that monitors when the power goes off. And I've got an electric bicycle, so I switch the power over from the grid to the bicycle to power the computers and stuff. So I'm actually running off the electric bicycle right now. So
Who's pedaling?
well, I don't have to pedal. I don't know if you can see the bicycle. It's at the back there.
No.
Not yet. You have to
Take
take your virtual screen off. This is really curious because I'm on solar. So on bicycle, I'd like to learn more about that rather than running the gas generator.
Yeah, you can do a little bit of exercising.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Totally.
We all need to be doing that, right? Imagine if we were sitting on bicycles here, wouldn't be able to
Well-
talk as much. There it is. I see
Oh,
it.
can you see it? There you
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
go. Okay, it'll give you a good sense of what you're looking at. Give me a second.
Here, let's we'll take off screen share. We'll get you.
So,
Very cool. Did you build that?
I
Hanno?
got it from China, but I built a lot of it, improved it quite a bit over the years. So, and there it's plugged into the rest.
I see go vegan, everything
so
about it.
cool. I love it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's got a
Amazing.
top speed of about 80 kilometers an hour. So it's not really a bicycle. It's more of a motorbike than a bicycle.
Wow. Wow.
Wow.
And does that,
Wow.
It obviously charges into batteries. You store the energy into batteries?
That's right.
Yeah.
And I can do about 80 kilometers on a charge, but these days I use it more for a backup power than I do actually for.
And no running a dishwasher on that one.
No,
So light
no.
loads, we have to reduce our impact to begin with in order to live this way. Yeah.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, so I run light loads, not heavy stuff.
No
But yeah,
wonder
it's been
you're,
a whole experience to make all this work, you know.
no wonder you look so young.
Yes.
Awesome.
Melanie, how are you doing?
I'm good. I have definitely these ups and downs, and it's like all this energy we're spending, you know, to make this stuff work. And sometimes I wonder if it's worth it. You know, will we actually see the light of the day? And then the sun comes up, and it's like, yes, you know, there's always these cycles of darkness and light. And I'm learning to allow myself to go through those and be okay with it. And come out of it on the end. And I'm really thankful for the community that allows me to be myself in my quirky, spontaneous, forgetful self, you know, creative self. It is definitely a safe and lively environment to reach the highest in human collaboration. And for that, I am grateful today. So start with gratitude.
Absolutely. Yes. I think we got everybody. Righto, how are you doing?
And you, don't forget you.
You, yeah. You're not going to escape.
Righto first, and then.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. Been doing some work and been socializing more with the leads and trying to get more like meetings up, and yeah, it's been an awesome week, and looking forward for the weekend. And we'll have a birthday tomorrow to go, and a little bit of relaxing as well. Then otherwise, I would work like 6 to 7 days.
Take the weekends off, and especially birthdays.
Yeah.
Yours?
Yeah.
Is it
No,
yours?
not mine.
Okay,
No. My girlfriend's friends.
awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, for myself, doing really well, feeling surprisingly energized at the end of the week. I'm usually not this energized, but I think it was because yesterday I was able to clear off my plate and make it a focus day, and I just turned off Telegram, Discord, and did work. So that was nice,
Yes.
and was able to do a lot of good focus, and I hope to do that every week. So don't look for me on Thursdays. It's my no meeting day. And I'm trying to make Friday the same as well, but we have a bunch of stuff packed in the mornings today, but hopefully this afternoon I can jump back into focus mode and start doing stuff.
It's actually a very good idea to have one day that we make sure no one have meeting, just focus on doing stuff.
Yeah.
Very good
Maybe
idea.
the odd check-in. Yorm and I checked in yesterday, on a Thursday, and that's same. Thursday seems to be that day where we can scoot away and do our async work, which is really good. But yeah.
I think that's really wonderful. Yeah.
All
To
right.
have the focus to do the things. Yeah.
Absolutely. So let's jump back into the agenda. So we have Dework activities for the submit work. Does somebody want to talk about that if you're the one who put this in?
I have a question. If I go in and I go in and I say accept, I believe when Afia says she was at a meeting, that she was at a meeting, I don't have to check it. Is that a problem?
No.
Okay, so that's good. And the other thing that came up for me when I was doing my own submission, I thought, why don't we ask for somebody to just say something about the meeting? And then we were collecting these little snippets of, how the meeting was, or what was a significant point, maybe a bunch of different questions, open-ended questions that, you just answer one of those. Put a timestamp in of the video that you really loved. This was an aha moment, or what really stood out for you? What did you go away with? Any of these things, because just to say, I was here, no, that's okay, right? But
Yeah.
let's use it for our benefit too, right? Because then we go back in and we say, look, here's comments from all the people that are showing up. Plus, when somebody goes into Dework, they start seeing, oh, this is pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, that's a beautiful idea. And I think it works with human psychology as well. When you make somebody think about what was the highlight of the meeting, or what value did you get today, that makes them actually review what happened, and that cements that a little firmer. And it's been proven to improve mood and improve kind of that kind of growth and things like that. So that's a really great idea. I love that.
Yeah,
I echo that.
want more.
Love the idea. Yeah. Love the idea.
So that's definitely something for community collaboration standards. Let's put that in our playbook. Like, proof of work for community meetings isn't just an I was there or a screenshot. It's give us a sentence of what your favorite thing was, or the biggest takeaway, or some
timestamp. If you use a timestamp, then we can start, when we start collecting information for videos, we go exactly to that point. None of us have to go through 18,000 hours of video. We have timestamps that say this was a significant point. And that being said, Newman, you said something about a T and a semicolon. Is that when you're in a comment?
Well, it's just it's a hotkey that I use to
do a timestamp. So when you're watching a video and you're typing in a document, or in comments in YouTube?
In a document. It could also be in a comment in YouTube if but it would only give you what the current time is. Like right now, in my it's 11:21. So, but yeah.
So is that what you're doing in this document? You did a hotkey T semicolon?
Yeah, just semicolon and T, see that there? And
Yep.
then when I hit the space bar, it
Cool.
gives me another, yeah.
Okay,
That's cool.
fabulous.
If you do natural language dates in Obsidian, you can also do like now, and it'll convert it to whatever now is.
Oh,
So that's a
yeah.
quick shortcut as well if you're doing notes in Obsidian.
Okay, that
And it
sounds
there may be a
little more.
Google Doc that says if you do no, yeah, there may be, there's some little shortcuts inside of Google Docs.
Yeah,
It's kind
at now is how you do it in Obsidian.
Yeah.
Okay, so because there's definitely got to be easier ways than typing them all out.
Yeah, I think to your point is like, are there little for making a timestamp into videos, and Dework, timestamping videos is a great Dework task. It's simple. It's a great way to onboard new community members. It's a straightforward thing, and it gets them rehashing, like going over and listening to the videos.
Juanita started that, and it seems that it takes about half the time of the video. So if we're basing, 100 gimbals on 1 hour of time, then it would be, half the time of the pretty easy formula, I think, to figure out the reward for gimbals per token, except you put the amount on it to begin with, don't you? You can't put a formula in. Instead of rewarding 100 gimbals, you can't put a formula in, can you?
No, although it's convention, so we can always update the task title and change the amounts. Nothing's set in stone.
Well, this would be for somebody that actually submits their work based on, rather than us saying, okay, here's this video, you timestamp it. That's a lot of work, to set those up. But somebody goes and says, oh, there's no timestamps on these videos. I love doing this. And then they send us the work. That would be amazing.
Yeah, eventually we're going to move away from Dework, I think, and move into the Little Fish action-based model. And that's where somebody's like, here's what I did this week. Do you value it? And then we can reward them.
Good, because Dework can be a lot of work.
Yeah.
For the people setting it up. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think once we start creating tasks and get into the habit of looking there and doing it, it'll become more of a easy flow. I think the first few times it's a little bumpy and you're getting what is this tool and what are all these things, but as we create templates and are able to quickly create these Dework entries, I think it'll go smoother. And I think it should be one of the roles for one of the people every week to create all the Dework tasks for all these meetings and different things, just as a checklist and go create this, check, because we probably need about 5 every week for the community.
Segues nicely into Ikigai Miro board, doesn't it? But before we go into that, do we want to look at this agenda and make sure that we're hitting those things that should be on the top of the list?
Yeah, so we have Ikigai Miro board. I think that is pretty valuable. We have fundraising. How can we regain our power and shift from relying on Catalyst for funding? Reflection and cooldown activities. We have a tokenomics community monetary systems, where might our tokenomics take us kind of conversation item. Agile organizational frameworks for C4C, namely sprints, and then delegating tasks. What are we doing? Who's doing what? Is there anything people want to add to that, or which ones do people think are most important? Maybe we can float those to the top.
I like
Ikigai. Well, Ikigai is going to take a lot of time, right? Once we dive into that, that's a rabbit hole that will take some time, right?
Or it could be really quick if we just say, hey, everybody, do your homework. And get commitments for that.
Okay, so Ikigai is important. Yes.
Yes.
Newman, go ahead. Can you also zoom in, please?
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm going to be like this.
Yeah. I wonder, I don't know if you can you do that in Zoom? It's not me sharing the screen. I can share my screen.
It's me. No, who's sharing this? There we go. Sorry.
There we go. There we go.
Thank you. How can we regain our power and shift from relying on catalysts for funding? That has to do with tokenomics, possibly, plus other things very important at this point. Okay, so the reflection and cool down activities, that feels like a working team meeting, right?
Mhm.
Tokenomics, community monetary system, what might, so Agile, these are the sprints. So yeah, so just the one seems to be moving. Looks like it's in pretty good order.
Yeah.
Sprints, I don't want to lose though, because that's kind of what's happening right now too.
Yeah. Okay. So let's take that general order and move fairly quickly. We have about 32 minutes left in this meeting.
You're the boss.
Ikigai. We have homework. And the homework was basically to go through and think about all the different roles and possible tasks that each one does. One topic that came up at a previous, I think it was earlier this week, is if each of us can go to that Miro board and create a box that says Nori or Melanie, and then just put down the roles that you think you do for the community. And maybe that's a good starting point to think about those as well. Because we may be missing roles that some people are actually doing, but we don't see, or they're not on the board yet.
Oh, good. Thanks for putting the link in. So for the rest of you, Hanno, we've been working on this Miro board, trying to figure out how we can engage the community, get work done, incentivize. It's the whole gamut of things. If you happen to zoom into mine, you see it's an absolute mess. With that being said, what we've done for C4C, I'm also thinking I want to put down what jobs I've done in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And how, because the jobs that I've done in the past are so related. Being a mother is one of them, you know, and that's that makes sense to me in my role as C4C. So speak your own heart language. Put the names you want on it, the names that you make sense. And Rido and Henno, if you want to jump in on this, you're welcome to. Just put, copy and paste a board. And
Oh yeah, or just drop down a frame and just start going for it. Like,
yeah,
I'm going to do that right now.
Yeah, put your name on it. Do you got anybody need help on Miro? If you're new to it, Henno, Rido.
No, I'm good.
Okay. So you're welcome to jump in. Has this been something that we've been ongoing? And also maybe you want to say something about Little Fish, Nori.
Yeah, so this is Ikigai is a thing out of Little Fish, and Ikigai is really a way of finding the overlap of what you're good at, what you love to do, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for. And the theory is if you can find something that satisfies all four of those, you're going to have a really meaningful kind of experience. So this is a tool to help outline part of that. Part of it is to understand what the roles are within Cardano4Climate. And then based on your own Ikigai, you can see which of these roles match and are in the center. And those are probably things that if you're onboarding into the community that you should drift towards, because you'll probably find the most fulfillment there. Plus they're things that the community needs and we are willing to either pay ADA or Gimbals for. So that's the purpose of this exercise, is right now to discover all the roles so that we're clear as a community what the roles are. And then there's probably a second piece of this where you will take a look at the actual Ikigai chart and then fill in your own, like here's an example, Ikigai of what I love, what I think we need, what I'm good at, what I can be paid for, and then what are these purple things in the center that map towards what the roles are within C4C. And then that's kind of, and that should help us make people find fulfillment within our community and jump in and do stuff that is valuable. So that's the overall purpose of this. And right now we're kind of trying to figure out what the roles are. And then next we'll do kind of the.
I have a problem. Yeah. My Ikigai is not to fill up my information. So no, I'm kidding. So I mean, I'm not kidding, but yeah. Anyway, I'm trying to think. I need to do it. But yeah.
How can we
I'm
make
trying
it
to-
fun though,
yeah.
so that you actually, because I have these moments when I don't want to look at this, it becomes work.
You know, for me, it's like getting into like a mall, a shopping mall. After
What-
the second shop, I cannot look anymore. I have to run out. I mean,
So how can we unload your
I'm same.
information? Do you want to do it over a video interview? Let's take some time and just sit together and maybe we speak it out instead of writing it out. Because I have that
Yeah,
same
maybe.
thing, Yoram, and maybe there's a few other of us that are having a really hard time putting this down.
Yeah, like I don't even look at the rest of this. I don't know what's up here. I just created this box for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's an empty box. I'm just going to spend some time and fill it out the way I think it should be filled out. And that's all I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Because the rest is overwhelming.
yeah.
So that's one
Right.
option.
Mhm.
Yeah. No, it makes sense to do something. Oh no, when you do yours, I just copy it and no, I'm kidding, but so yeah, no, I mean, it's a good option to just open a new one and just start thinking. But I'm in my head when I'm thinking about it, you know, it will be really cool. And the video is a cool idea actually. But also for them, I'm thinking how we facilitate it as how you automate somehow, or semi-automate something like that, right? Eventually, because eventually.
Don't worry about the other stuff, where it goes from here, but let's experiment ourselves. Is it good enough for now and safe enough to go forward? I'd be happy to sit down with you, Yoram, and just brainstorm at some point in time. And then we record and we put that in this clip, and then we can maybe work together on putting it into making sense.
Yeah,
of
let's
it.
do it. Let's do it.
Awesome.
Okay.
So does everybody have their homework?
But all the rest should fill it up. No, I'm kidding.
Well, and then
We'll put it in the C4C GTPBL, Yoram, that you and I are meeting, and other people are welcome to jump in and just brainstorm about work.
Okay.
And it's basically just to write down what like tasks during the week or during the fund that we do for the C4C or how, you know, just sort of tasks that need to be done or that we do exclusively or we'd like to see done. So this is a question like, what is the scope of homework? Yeah.
It's a good question. Yeah. It's a good question.
Because I think that
it's just not a task for me, right? I mean, I understand that, and we need to cut it to task. But for me, C4C is not a task, right? I mean, I don't know how to say it, right?
It's how you breathe.
Yeah, it's you know, I go to a conference, and you know, what do you do? Yeah, I'm part of a community, right? And so it's not okay. It's just a task, right? And then, but we need to have the task as well. We need somehow. I understand that we need to kind of make it simple, right? Somehow.
Yeah. Or to somehow frame up so that I mean, I guess we're trying to get down to like what the intention of the workshop is and what, you know, how we can interact with it in a valuable way. But this is great feedback because it's true. It's sort of breaking up a living system and trying to, you know, to dissect it. And that's
and both of them are important, right? What's important? I mean, it's important to define tasks and roles and all of that. It's important. I mean, all of that. I get that. So,
So it does feel weird. It definitely does feel weird. It is out of the comfort zone. I don't know if you had the same experience and when you dissected the frog. You know, for me it was a worm, and you know, like doing dissection is tough. You know, and that's basically what we're doing. But our intention is not to. I feel like the intention is to make a clear, better organization of C4C. And so let's keep that in mind and then just spend time figuring out and in this framework.
Yeah, and in this framework, our intention is to try and figure out the Ikigai model, right, for a community. So
this model of using this framework of Ikigai for communities to sort of discern what it is they do in alignment with their vision, mission, principles, goals, and that's sort of, I think that's the ultimate thing, and the thing that I like to interject here is that it's really about like the alignment, like what our vision and goals and purpose for C4C is, and then taking an account in a reflection way of where we are and what we're doing, and then how that aligns, I guess, going one way, and then how that makes an impact going the other way.
excellent. Yeah.
And also recognizing that some of us don't work the same way as other people. We don't fit the box very well. We're all here because we're rebels. We've been breaking out of these boxes. So keep those lids off these boxes. Keep the sides off the boxes. And that's one of the other problems is when I get into that board, it's like I go into that space and all of a sudden I go woof like this all over the place. So having that frame is helpful. And then I just fill it in and I make it bigger, you know, but focus on one spot if need be. Yoram, you and I are going to get together.
Although there's an action item for you two to get together.
And via video. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Next topic. We're down to 22 minutes left in the meeting. Fundraising. How can we regain our power and shift from relying on Catalyst for funding? We've been talking for a few weeks now around the C4C Foundation. And I'm at a point now where it's kind of clear in my mind. So if you all want, I can kick off a proposal document around that we can collaborate on, just to kind of explore what that might look like. And just recognizing that going to a charitable kind of foundation organization with an endowment fund and all that may not be, it's different from what we've been doing in the past. So that may not match with everyone's Ikigai, but some people here, I think that is something that they are passionate about and have previous experience around. Yeah, I was watching, I don't know if you've ever seen a TV show called Schitt's Creek. Moira, one of the characters, was invited to this fake fundraiser, and she's like one of the premier fundraisers, and she got all excited to jump in and make sure that, like, show me your playbook and your checklists and all that. And it's like, some people really love this stuff. So I want to find people like that. They're like, I'm going to go to the Rockefellers and to this organization and this, and raise us a bunch of money so that we can build out our endowment fund. So things like that, I think we will be able to connect with a larger subset of people that may not be passionate about some of this other stuff. But if we're talking with big organizations and getting money for a cause, that may really match what people love to do. So, and I think that one of the key parts of this is if we have a big enough endowment fund in ADA, we can use that to actually do some influence voting as well ourselves. And that's one of my goals too, is I would love to get to a point where we have 10, 15 million ADA in an endowment fund that we can use to vote. And how powerful of a tool would that be?
As long as this voting, the power of voting too, it's you know, comes up with DC Sparks getting a loan for 400,000. They've got, if it's an upfront loan, they've got that in ADA. Suddenly they've got really high voting power as well. So I hope it doesn't become a competition. There's also this thing that came up at another meeting where you can borrow and borrow 200,000 ADA until the snapshot and then pay it back. You know, so there's this gaming that goes on this way too. So we want to be, we don't want to sell our souls in this one. So, you know, figure out the good way of doing this.
But the bottom line of what Nori is suggesting is how we become independent, how we continue to do what we love to do, and more impact and find a sustainable way to do it, right? And then obviously we need to follow our values and what we are trying to achieve and so on. But I really love the idea, Nori. Thanks for putting it. I mean, because I think it's open opportunity. I think a lot what we are doing here is very special, right? Having a community, supporting projects, bringing them to Web3. There's a lot of elements which are special, and I believe we can find people that will be willing to support it, right? And people, organization, grants, and potentially some of it can be through generating revenue by helping, right, by doing stuff to other people, which is also fine. I think a lot of foundations are also, you know, offering services and through that growing. And yeah, so I really like it, and I'm happy to help. I mentioned it to Scott. He's happy to advise us about foundations and, you know, and all of that. And yeah, I like it.
All right.
I like
Could
it a lot.
could it be something like, you know, Empower, the way Empower has, like they have like community and like, you know, the way they have the NFT and community can buy like NFTs, and then they invest to the houses. Whenever a house owner pays back the loan, they get something back. Would it be possible to basically have the same system, but you have like bigger investment and like whoever wants to put into a foundation, let's say, and they invest in the token, you take the token, maybe you invest in the different businesses, and the fees and profits that you get, they get delivered back.
That's definitely a possibility, or even a seed stars kind of model, because I think we need more organizations that help do the seed funding for these impact projects.
Kiva,
Or Kiva, yeah.
right?
But,
Kiva on Cardano.
but the big thing about a foundation and having like an endowment fund is it's generating whatever the 4.5% a year kind of funds that can be used to run the core operations. And then we stop having to rely on Catalyst to keep like Cardano4Climate as an organization running and being able to incentivize people to run meetings and create community and do the basic functions. And then on top of that, we have a mechanism for raising money, doing NFT fundraisers or different things so that we can either directly fund boots on the ground with part of that money or do bigger projects like creating an Empower or a Seed Stars or something like that. But I think it gives us that independence from Catalyst, which is kind of that key thing, is we can't keep going back to this funding source that is currently not great for impact projects.
Oh, please. After a year of it, it's like, can't keep doing this, you know, the same thing. We have to, you know, put some more energy. And I really wholeheartedly support this pursuit of a foundation and figuring out other alternatives for sure.
Yeah, and the work that goes into it, rather than wasting all this work with proposals and reviews and all that, we're making connections to organizations that even if they're not funding us, I think that relationship making is valuable beyond money, and expanding that network out. So that kind of work is actually really, it's twofold or multifold. It's that relation building, but also the potential of getting some funding.
And I see collaborations between Empower, Seed Stars, you know, yeah, other groups that are doing this, similar ideas of fundraising. Sorry, Newman?
Well, I'm writing down our place in the Catalyst ecosystem. I mean, one of the concepts that I work off is, loving what is. So, or fighting upstream, which I guess is sometimes, what salmon do. And it's a very natural thing to do. But the idea being, where are we now? And this is sort of a reflection sort of a thing, is where are we now and how can we fulfill the mission, our sort of stated mission of supporting the impact proposals out there in this ecosystem that have been attracted. And it's going to change. So I'm looking for, how we pivot, or, you know, what is sort of fighting upstream unproductively. That's a comment to throw in there. Yeah.
And if you think about it, Catalyst is just a subsystem of Cardano. And as Yoram reminds us, we're Cardano4Climate. Bruno, you have your hand up.
Sorry, it's a bit loud right now. I don't know if you guys can hear me very well. Is it okay?
Yep.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, I just wanted to kind of challenge something Nori said. Not that I don't think it's a good idea, just kind of like, putting it out there. You know, the Cardano inflation, I guess you can call it, which is, you know, where the majority of the staking is what it causes, right? It's kind of going down, right? So it's becoming less and less of a feasible method of being sustainable, right? You know, if you're making 3% a year on however much money it is, it becomes potentially less profitable than, for example, investing directly in, like Seba from DC Spark, right? He's paying 6% USD in USD, right? So you're not facing that volatility as well. So I don't know, I'd be interested in us exploring like some other DAOs on other ecosystems and stuff, and seeing if those kind of, some of their investment patterns and stuff, they make sense for us. Like if we can become our own kind of investment DAO or kind of like hedge fund that invests in impact on Cardano, or, you know, like I think it was mentioned previously, like being a seed starters where we give that kind of VC support and funding and connect them with the right people, and be that kind of Kickstarter for the impact projects on Cardano. As an alternative to Catalyst, of course, you can always still go to Catalyst, but it's just another way to get started, is going to C4C and, you know, proposing to the community a cool project idea.
Yeah, I think that's a really, really great point. Is if we do have this endowment fund, the core foundation's responsibility is to grow that either through donations, but also, like you said, doing it purely as staking and stake pools might not be the greatest return, but we can be using the funds to create loans or investments into impact projects. And then as they become successful, the fund becomes more successful and we can do more and more. So I think those are all great things.
Sorry, just potentially getting equity of the token, or directly investing in the impact on the ground, or whatever it be. You know, obviously it's case by case, right? So you would need to see for the different projects, and if it makes sense. So we need to have like risk analysis of the projects, and of course do our due diligence, right? Because it's very risky investing in any crypto project, right?
Yeah, and absolutely. But this may attract to us people who are typical kind of working in the VC realm or the angel realm, but they want to shift their focus to the impact or the ESG space, and now they can like contribute their skills to this group and say, this is how we evaluate risk or potential or things like that, and bring those skills to the group. That might be a really great thing as we grow the potential of the foundation out there and the different stuff we can do.
I got this crazy thought. How do tomatoes do it? How do tomatoes produce seeds? I wonder if there's some sort of information in there, because it completely fascinates me every year that I grow tomatoes. I planted one seed, I open up one tomato and there's 100 seeds. Just putting it out there, like, how the heck does this happen? And is there, because we keep following this economic model of, you know, dealing with money as such, and falling into this interest and all this system, that there might be something else out there. There may be a pattern that we're missing. So just putting it out there. But that could take longer, and we've got 9 minutes.
Okay, so I'd put an action to start a shared document, and then I'll kick that out to everybody, and you can comment and expand, and we can flesh that out over the next little while.
Yeah, and put for me to plant tomatoes this weekend and come up with ideas.
Okay.
Your tomato harvest should be in. Save the seeds. And then
Yeah,
that's,
it's actually, yeah, anyway, I don't want to go into that, but they are growing now. It's too hot but for the season, but the winter is starting soon. Anyway,
let's talk
Yeah.
about that in our video. Okay.
yeah.
Agile and organizational frameworks for C4C, namely sprints. So this came up recently as an organizational tool, is maybe we should start doing some sprints where we do some, we talked about this at the OrgLabs, and we'll probably talk about this later today at the OrgLabs meeting. And maybe that's a good place to kick it off and then bring some of that knowledge back. But basically with Agile and sprint kind of stuff, you have three main activities. You have the planning, what are we going to do over the sprint? And then the doing, what does that look like? Is there daily stand-ups or reporting or something? And then there's a reflection to say, how did we do? How can we get better for next time? And then it starts to build a rhythm of delivery. So you're focused on what are we going to do and concretely deliver over the next sprint. And a sprint can be a week, 2 weeks, a month. It depends on the orgs. We talked about maybe a 2-week sprint might fit well here. And then it might be, I think it's a good time as we do our reflection of what's working and what's not. And as daylight savings kicks in, we may want to rejuggle our meetings and fit them more into a 2-week sprint. Because right now it feels like we're on a 1-week sprint and we're doing event planning and our weekly meetup and then our tokenomics, and it's this 1-week cadence, and maybe that's too fast for us, or maybe it's perfect. I don't know. It's worth talking about, but yeah, this is kind of the conversation, and maybe since we're short on time here, we focus on it at the Little Fish OrgLabs meeting, and then
Sounds good.
that happens today, right? You've
yeah, it
got the
happens
information.
in 2 hours.
And that shows up in the Discord channel. Where do we find info about it? Because I've never been to one.
Yeah, on the Little Fish Discord, there should be an event
Okay.
notification and a meeting link.
And anybody interested in going to that?
I'll be there for sure.
Okay, can we drop in the Little Fish Discord? So that we can make connections. And then let's move into maybe tokenomics.
Um,
And this, I believe, where Hanno, even just listening in, or maybe, is it possible to give a 1-minute intro to what your token does, your idea?
Oh,
Okay.
not in just 1 minute.
I can quickly
Elevator
tell you,
pitch.
just the 1 minute. So, okay, I'm trying to combine money and nature in a way that it's profitable both for buyers and sellers. So, and that nature, which creates things for us anyway, is part of that creation process. So, for example, if I grow an avo tree in my backyard, I can sell it for a higher price than a person in a shop could sell their avo for, but the buyer would pay less. So, and the nature is paying for part of that transaction. So it sounds a little complex, but yeah, on a bigger level, I think humanity is currently in a state of survival. And I think as long as we're in this state of survival, we'll never be able to just all run. We're all just walking because we're trying to and this is exactly the whole discussion we're having here, because we're struggling to get funds to actually, we're in survival mode. So if we can get out of survival mode and go into a full-on sprint, and the way to do that is to change the system a little bit so people can be freed of all this tied down. So yeah, I'm trying to create a new economy to make that work.
Fabulous. So let's, Hanno, let's figure this out somehow. Because we have the ability in crypto to print our own tokens. We're close to the printer, whereas fiat, and I know there's this overlap, shifting from one system to the other is impossible right now because we all have to pay rent, groceries. This is what we transact in, but we can also create a parallel system that could work. A lot of us are here volunteering our time. We're not recognizing that, but maybe we can start using this somehow we're giving our energy, we can co-create this parallel system. And at some point, we have this safety net when we can actually switch over.
See, the way I see it, like you said about the tomatoes, you can plant with one seed, you can plant many. Nature is doing that job for us. All we have to do is recognize it. And if we can recognize that in some monetary form, and this is what OIC does, it recognizes that in a monetary form. And as soon as you can do that, then everything will start working, because nature's paying for us, even if we don't acknowledge it anyway. It's doing that work for us. We just have to acknowledge it and bring it into our reality to make it work. So I've got a system that does that. I must just get all my ducks in a row to actually make that happen.
Because you're very busy in real life, and you know, having funding is important, you know, to be able to free you up to be able to do this more. So, you know, we are definitely interrelated. Finding funding, giving you the ability to free up some more time and to focus on this as well.
Because currently I earn a very good salary, and I've got kids that have to go to varsity and all that stuff. So I'm just making all that work. But
survival
I
mode.
definitely have a plan within the next 3 years to full-time work on this. So it's going to happen. It's just a matter of with funding, without funding, I don't care. This is going to happen. So
do you have a white paper or blog post or anything that we can link to just to get a little more information on what you're thinking?
I think what I should do is actually show you the system, because I've got one that works. That's currently working. It's on a centralized system, but the ideas are there and they're working, and I've trialed it at a school. So the wheels are in motion. It's just to put this onto the blockchain, which definitely needs to happen.
Yeah.
So Newman's put in some links to the YouTube, to your pitch, your longer pitch, the link in the proposal. Yeah, how can we support you? How can we, where is this example in the school? Like, do you have documentation for that? How it's working?
Look, it was for a short period only. And yeah, it worked okay, but the kids weren't interested in vegetables. You know, you need some better stuff to sell to them. So, and yeah, so, but definitely it needs a bit more fleshing out. I need to explain this better. I think that's my first mission, is to actually just sit down and explain this better. And the more I do it, the better I'll get. So I probably just need some time. Maybe I can, Melanie, maybe I can spend some time with you and show you.
Absolutely, and that's going to be key, is bouncing these ideas off of each other, because you can deal with something all by yourself for the longest time and spin around in circles, and you may be missing a few pieces from outside. So I don't know if you're available next week. We can also, thanks Rido, we can also maybe go into breakout rooms at some point when this starts fleshing out.
That's a very good idea. I think.
Okay, so it's a good start.
Of you, yeah, it needs to start somewhere. So if I just start bouncing ideas off you guys, that.
Okay, let's do that. And the action plan then is, if you can come next Friday, same time, we're going to keep figuring this out for sure.
Cool.
Sorry.
So we're right at time.
Woo! Can we celebrate? Thank you, Nori. Amazing facilitation. Yay!
All right. So if you're interested, I just dropped the Discord link into the agenda and chat for the Little Fish Discord. We're meeting organizational labs in 2 hours.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I jumped another call.
Okay,
Thank
me
you.
too. I have
Thank you very much, everyone.
bread to make today.
Great. Yeah.
Nice. I like it. I can smell it already.
Yeah, I have some sourdough focaccia rising right now.
Ooh,
hold it.
nice. Bye, Bruno. Thank you so much for being here. Hanno, thank you for making time for us. Newman, of course, you know I love you very much. And I have to say, oh, Yoram's already gone. Otherwise, he'd be jealous. And Nori, I can still feel your hug. We met in person, right, Hanno, this summer. And Nori gives amazing hugs. I
Okay.
still am appreciating it. So it's very good.
I appreciate you guys all. Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you,
Thanks,
everyone.
Melanie. Thanks,
Ciao.
Ewan.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.